as a love that turned into regret. She was running away from the one person who once meant everything to her, running away from a past she couldn't escape, running away from a decision that destroyed two lives forever. Ethan was driving through downtown Seattle on an ordinary Wednesday afternoon. The rain had just stopped, and the streets were still wet, reflecting the glow of traffic lights. His mind was elsewhere when suddenly his eyes caught something that made his heart stop. A face. A face he thought he'd never see again. Standing at the corner near Pike Place Market was a woman in tattered clothes, her hair tangled and unkempt, looking nothing like the person he once knew. But those eyes were unmistakable. Mia! The name escaped his lips before he could think. The woman turned, and for a split second their eyes locked. Recognition flooded her face, followed immediately by something else. Terror. Without a word, she spun around and ran. Ethan sat frozen in his car, horns honking behind him. Why was she running? What happened to the woman who was once his wife? He had to know. Slamming on the brakes, Ethan threw open his car door and ran after her, leaving his Mercedes idling in the middle of the street. "Mia, wait, please," he shouted, but she only ran faster. She darted through Pike Place, weaving between tourists and street vendors. Ethan followed, breathless, confused, desperate. After what felt like an eternity, Mia stumbled. Her bare feet caught on the uneven pavement, and she fell hard against a newspaper stand. Ethan rushed forward, but she recoiled, pressing herself against the brick wall. "Please, stay away from me, Ethan," she whispered, her voice trembling, broken. "Mia, what happened to you? Why are you running from me?" Tears streamed down her face. I can't face you. Not after what I did." A small crowd had begun to gather. Mia felt the weight of their judgment crushing her. Before Ethan could say another word, she pushed through the crowd and disappeared into the Seattle streets once more. Ethan stood there, alone on the sidewalk, his heart shattered all over again. But one thing was certain now. He needed answers, and he wasn't going to stop until he found them. Let me take you back to where it all began. 3 years ago, Ethan and Mia were the perfect couple. At least, that's what everyone thought. Ethan grew up in a small town called Silverton in Oregon. His father was a carpenter, and his mother taught elementary school. When Ethan's grandfather passed away, he left Ethan 50 acres of farmland. Ethan was only 23, fresh out of community college with a degree in sustainable agriculture. He converted the old farm into an organic operation, growing heirloom tomatoes, squash, kale, and herbs. Every Saturday, he'd drive to the Portland Farmers Market and sell his vegetables. The money was tight, but it was honest work. That's where he met Mia. She was working at a nearby coffee shop, saving money after dropping out of the Portland State University. One Saturday morning, she wandered over to Ethan's stand. "Are these actually better than grocery store tomatoes, or is that just marketing?" she asked with a playful smile. Ethan laughed. "Try one and tell me." She did. Her eyes widened. "Okay, wow, that's actually incredible." They started talking, and they didn't stop. Week after week, Mia would visit his stand. 3 months later, Ethan asked her to dinner. 6 months after that, he asked her to marry him. The proposal wasn't fancy. Just the two of them sitting on the tailgate of his truck, watching the sunset over the farm fields. "I don't have much, Mia, but I promise you, I'll spend every day of my life making you happy. Will you marry me?" she cried, happy tears. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Their wedding was small, held under a big oak tree on Ethan's property, with wild flowers in Mia's hair. There was no honeymoon to Hawaii. Instead, they spent a weekend camping at Crater Lake. "We might not have much, Ethan," Mia said that night, "but as long as we have each other, we have everything." He believed her. God, how he believed her. Their life started beautifully. They lived in a small farmhouse that needed work, but they made it their home. Mornings started early. Ethan would work the fields, and Mia would bring him coffee around 8. They'd sit on the porch steps together, watching the morning mist roll over the hills. "You know what I love about this?" Mia said one morning. "The peace. No traffic, no noise, no stress. Just us and this beautiful land." In the afternoons, Mia would help him harvest vegetables. They didn't have cable TV or the latest smartphones. Their entertainment was cooking dinner together, playing cards, reading books, and talking for hours. Money was always tight, but they made it work. For the first year of their marriage, everything was perfect, but slowly, something began to change in Mia. It started with little comments. She'd scroll through Instagram and show Ethan pictures of her old college friends with new cars and fancy apartments. Can you believe Sarah has a BMW already? Or she'd see commercials for Caribbean cruises and sigh. Wouldn't it be amazing to go somewhere like that? Ethan would smile. Someday, maybe, when the farm is more established. But someday wasn't good enough for Mia anymore. She started spending more time on social media, comparing her life to everyone else's. Her friends were living in nice apartments, wearing designer clothes, going to trendy restaurants. And here was Mia, living in a farmhouse with secondhand furniture, wearing jeans from Target. She started to feel embarrassed. The resentment grew slowly, like a weed she didn't pull out in time. One evening, Ethan came home exhausted but smiling. "Honey, we got an amazing tomato harvest today. I think we're going to have our best market day yet." Mia barely looked up from her phone. "That's great." Ethan sat down across from her. "Is something wrong?" She put her phone down, frustration bubbling over. "How long are we going to keep doing this, Ethan? This whole lifestyle. We're still barely scraping by. I don't understand. I thought you loved the farm." "I did. Or I thought I did. But it's been 2 years and nothing's changed. We can't afford to go anywhere, do anything. I see everyone else our age actually living, and we're just stuck." "We're not stuck, Mia. We're building something. Good things take time." "How much time, Ethan? How many more years am I supposed to wait before we have a real life?" "This is a real life." His voice rose. "We have food, a home, and each other. What more do you need?" "I need more than this. I need to feel like I'm not falling behind everyone I know." Ethan felt like he'd been slapped. "You're ashamed of me? Of what we've built together?" She looked away. That was answer enough. The arguments became more frequent. Mia criticized everything: the old truck, the small house, the lack of vacations. She started saying Ethan should get a real job with benefits and a salary. "I have a real job," he'd say. "I work harder than most people with office jobs." "But you're not making real money. Don't you want to give me nice things?" One evening, desperate to fix things, Ethan suggested, "What if we start talking about having a baby? Kids don't need fancy things. They need love." Mia looked at him like he'd lost his mind. "A baby? We can barely take care of ourselves. I don't want to raise kids in poverty." "We're not in poverty. We're just not rich. There's a difference." "Not to me." That's when Ethan realized he was losing her. The breaking point came after Mia had lunch with an old friend, Jessica. Jessica showed up in a Range Rover, wearing designer clothes. She'd just returned from Italy with her new husband, a venture capitalist. "You left Michael?" Mia asked, shocked. Michael had been Jessica's high school sweetheart. Jessica waved dismissively. "He was sweet, but he had no ambition. No money. I wanted more out of life. So I left him, moved to Seattle, and focused on meeting successful men. Look at me now." Mia stared at her, a dark thought whispering in her ear. If Jessica could do it, why couldn't she? Over the next few weeks, that thought consumed Mia. She started researching divorce lawyers online. She stopped wearing her wedding ring. Then one day, Ethan came home to find her packing a suitcase. "Where are you going?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "I'm going to stay with my mom for a while. I need space." "Space from what? From me?" She turned to face him, her eyes cold. "Yes, Ethan, from you, from this life, from all of it." "Mia, please. Every marriage has rough patches. We can work through this." "I don't want to work through it. Don't you get it? I don't want this life. I don't want to be married to a farmer who's never going to amount to anything more than dirt under his fingernails." Her words were designed to wound, and they did, deeply. "So that's it? Everything we built, everything we promised, it's all just nothing to you?" "I'm sorry, Ethan, but I can't do this anymore." She grabbed her suitcase and walked out. Ethan sank to the floor and sobbed like he'd never sobbed before. For the next 2 months, Ethan lived in a fog. He couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. The farm started falling apart. He stopped going to the market. One night, after drinking too much whiskey, Ethan drove to the Willamette River and stood on a bridge, looking down at the dark water below. What's the point anymore? She's gone. I wasn't enough. His phone buzzed. It was his older brother, Jake, calling from California. With shaking hands, Ethan answered. "Hey man, just checking in. You okay?" Ethan's voice cracked. "No, I'm not okay." Jake heard something in his voice that terrified him. "Ethan, where are you right now?" "I'm at the bridge." "Which bridge?" "Ethan, listen to me carefully. Get in your truck right now and drive home." "I don't know if I can, Jake. It hurts too much." "I know it does, but I need you to hold on. Just get home, and I'll call you back. Please, brother." Something in Jake's voice cut through the fog. Ethan drove home, and Jake stayed on the phone the entire time. By morning, Jake had booked a flight and was in Oregon. Jake stayed for 2 weeks. He helped clean up the farm, forced Ethan to eat, and just sat with him when the darkness felt too heavy. "You're going to survive this," Jake said, "and you're going to come out stronger." Slowly, painfully, Ethan rebuilt himself. He sold the farm and moved to Seattle. He went back to school, earned a degree in agricultural technology, and landed a job at a major sustainable farming company. Within 2 years, he was a project manager, making 6 figures. The irony wasn't lost on him. He became successful not because she pushed him to, but because he pushed himself. Meanwhile, Mia's life took a different turn. After leaving Ethan, she was sure her life was about to transform. She'd seen Jessica do it. She started going to upscale bars and clubs, always dressed her best, hoping to meet someone wealthy. She went on dates with lawyers, tech entrepreneurs, real estate developers. But every single time, the same thing happened. "So you were married before? Why did you leave him?" If she told the truth, that she left because of money, she looked like a gold digger. And wealthy men could spot that from a mile away. One date, a surgeon named Marcus, had been particularly blunt. "Let me guess, he didn't make enough money, so you left hoping to trade up?" Men with money didn't get that money by being stupid. We know when someone's interested in our wallets. He never called again. That became the pattern. Date after date, rejection after rejection. Months turned into a year. Mia's mother started asking uncomfortable questions. Then time started working against her. She was getting older. The invitations slowed. The job at the boutique ended. She took a job at Target, then as a server at a restaurant. One night, serving a couple, Mia watched them hold hands and laugh at inside jokes. They weren't dressed fancy. They ordered the cheapest items, but they looked absolutely happy. That could have been me and Ethan, she thought. The regret crashed over her. That night, she looked up Ethan online and found a news article. Local farmer makes comeback after personal tragedy. She read about how Ethan had nearly lost everything after a painful divorce, but had turned his life around. He'd moved to Seattle and was now successful. The article included a quote, "Sometimes the worst moments lead to your greatest transformations. I'm grateful for every experience, even the painful ones." Mia closed her laptop and sobbed. He'd become successful without her. And she? She'd fallen further down. She had to see him, had to apologize. So she bought a bus ticket to Seattle with the last money in her bank account. Seattle was overwhelming. Mia had no real plan. She spent days wandering downtown, asking around, hoping for a glimpse of him. At night, she stayed at women's shelters. Then one evening, exhausted and ready to give up, she sat on a bench in a park. That's when she saw him. Ethan was walking through the park, looking professional and put together. He walked up to a woman with a baby and a toddler. He sat down, pulled out cookies, and handed one to the toddler. The toddler laughed and hugged Ethan's leg. Mia felt like she couldn't breathe. He's moved on. He has a family. The pain was unbearable. She couldn't interrupt his happiness, so she walked away. She found a room in a boarding house and started doing odd jobs, cleaning houses, washing dishes. Every day was a struggle, but she never tried to find Ethan again, until that Wednesday afternoon when fate intervened. After seeing Mia run from him, Ethan couldn't let it go. He started asking around at shelters, showing an old photo. "She comes in sometimes," a shelter worker said. "Quiet lady, works cleaning jobs." For days, Ethan searched. Then he saw her again near the ferry terminal. "Mia!" he called out. This time, she stopped. She didn't run. She just stood there, her back to him. "Mia, please, I just want to talk." Slowly, she turned around. Her eyes were red, her face gone. "Why? Why do you want to talk to me?" "Because I need to understand. What happened to you?" "I don't want to talk about it here." They went to a cafe. Ethan ordered coffee and a sandwich for her. She looked at the food like she hadn't eaten in days. "Eat," Ethan said gently. "Please." She took a bite, tears forming in her eyes. Finally, Mia spoke. "I'm sorry for running, for everything. I destroyed us, Ethan. I was so stupid, so selfish." She told him everything. About trying to find someone rich, about the rejections, about hearing he'd tried to end his life. "I never meant to hurt you that badly." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Yeah, I hit rock bottom, but I climbed back out. I saw you in the park, with that woman and the baby. Is that your family now?" Ethan looked confused, then laughed. "That wasn't my family, Mia. That was my best friend's wife, and their kids. I was helping them out. I'm not married, not even dating anyone." Hope flickered in Mia's chest. "Why not?" "Because what you did broke something in me that took a long time to fix. I had to learn to trust again." "I did love you," Mia insisted. "I do love you. Do you? Or do you love the idea of me now that I have the success you wanted? If I was still on that farm, would you still be here?" Mia couldn't answer honestly. "I don't know." Ethan nodded. "At least you're being honest now." They sat in silence. Then Mia asked, "Do you hate me?" "No, I forgave you. But forgiving you doesn't mean I can go back. Love isn't just feelings. It's trust. You left when I needed you most. I can't forget that. What do you want from me, Mia? What do you want?" Mia looked into his eyes and made a choice. "I want you to be happy, that's all. I wanted to apologize and make sure you were okay. And you are. You survived. You thrived." Ethan felt something shift. This wasn't the same woman who left him. "What about you? What are you going to do now?" "Keep surviving, I guess." "That's not a life, Mia. That's just existing. You made mistakes, but that doesn't mean you should punish yourself forever." Ethan spent the next hour helping her. He gave her job resources, shelter information, and even offered to write her a reference letter. "Just promise me you'll actually use these resources." "I promise." As they prepared to leave, Mia asked one more time, "Do you think there's any chance for us?" Ethan looked at her steadily. "Honestly, I don't think so. What we had is in the past. We're different people now. You need to focus on building your own life. And I need to keep moving forward." The hope in her eyes died, replaced by understanding. "I knew you'd say that, but I had to ask." Outside the cafe, they stood facing each other one last time. "Thank you for forgiving me, for helping me. We were married, Mia. Part of me will always care. I hope you find someone who deserves you. I hope you find yourself, the real you. Goodbye, Ethan." "Goodbye, Mia. Take care of yourself." He walked toward his car. Mia watched him go, then turned in the opposite direction. She didn't run after him. She knew he was right. This was about finding herself. Over the next year, both their lives moved forward separately. Mia got a job at a coffee shop. She moved into a shared apartment. She took online classes and went to therapy. It wasn't glamorous, but she was living honestly. One day at work, a mother couldn't afford a cookie for her daughter. Mia gave the girl one for free. "We all need a little kindness sometimes," she said. That evening, she called her mother. "Mom, I think I'm going to be okay." Ethan met someone, Lauren, a veterinarian who specialized in farm animals. She liked him for his kindness and integrity, not his success. They fell in love slowly, carefully. One evening, Lauren asked, "Do you ever think about her?" "Sometimes. Not romantically, but I wonder if she's okay. Would you want to know?" "I think I'd rather not." That chapter is closed. 2 years later, both had built new lives that didn't include each other. One Saturday morning, Mia was opening the coffee shop when she saw Ethan walking by with Lauren, holding hands. The woman was wearing an engagement ring. Mia's heart clenched for a moment. Then she smiled. He looked happy. Truly happy. Ethan glanced toward the window. Their eyes met. Mia gave him a small nod and a genuine smile. He smiled back and kept walking. No words needed. That exchange said everything. I'm okay. You're okay. Mia turned back to her work. She'd lost him, yes, but in losing him, she'd found herself. That afternoon, she got a promotion. As she walked home, she reflected on her journey. The girl who'd valued designer bags over connections was gone. In her place was a woman who understood that the richest life isn't measured in dollars. She passed a magazine with a celebrity mansion on the cover. Once, that would have made her envious. Now she just shrugged. Those things didn't matter anymore. What mattered was integrity, purpose, peace of mind. She wrote in her journal that night, "Today, I saw Ethan. He's getting married, and I'm happy for him. My story doesn't end with him. It ends with me finding myself." And that's the better ending. 6 months later, Mia opened a small shop called Second Chances, selling handmade crafts and fair trade coffee. She employed people who'd struggled, giving them opportunities. It wasn't making her rich, but it was hers, built on her values. Ethan and Lauren married on her family's Montana ranch. As they exchanged vows, promising to love through hard times and value what really matters, Ethan felt complete. Both learned the same lesson on different paths: that love based on conditions will fail, that chasing money instead of meaning leads to emptiness, that the richest life is filled with purpose, integrity, and genuine connection. Their love story didn't have a fairy tale ending, but it had something better: real growth, genuine transformation, hard-earned wisdom. Sometimes the best ending isn't getting back what you lost. Sometimes it's learning why you lost it and becoming someone who would never make that mistake again. Moral of the story: real wealth isn't in bank accounts or possessions. It's in relationships built on genuine love, in work that gives you purpose, and in staying true to your values when times are tough. Chasing money at the expense of everything else leaves you empty. Sometimes losing everything is the only way to find what really matters. If this story touched your heart, like this video and share it with someone who needs this message. Subscribe for more powerful stories about love, loss, and life choices. Comment below: did Ethan make the right choice? Should forgiveness include reconciliation? What would you have done? Let's talk in the comments. Remember, the most valuable things in life aren't things at all.